The course is set up using adaptive release. There are certain quizzes that students must pass with a certain score in order to see the remainder of the course. As the instructor, you're going to see everything from the get-go. So as we come in here, we're going to see everything in the course. But we're going to have these notes throughout the course. So you can see this note here that says adaptive release, Module 0 quiz Blackboard, and it goes on to explain that the rest of the course won't be visible until you get a certain score. This note will become invisible once the student reaches that certain score. So basically, these notes are set up so that if a student doesn't understand why they don't see the rest of the course, the last thing they're going to see is this note that says, hey, you got to go back and get a certain score on this quiz before you can move forward. Now, it might come up throughout the course that you feel a student should be able to move on because they simply can't get a certain score. And we have it in the directions for them to contact you if they're having a lot of difficulty. So I do want to point out that that is possible. You can give students kind of a free pass if you want. That we're going to leave that up to the instructor to decide if that's applicable, when that's applicable. But in general, we want to make sure students are meeting these gateway quizzes because we picked them on purpose. We talked with some of the people that teach the developmental courses most frequently about what topics are really, really, really important that students need to grasp before moving on. And so we picked those as gateways. Now, in addition to the content-driven gateways, we have some Module 0 gateways in which they're really important stuff for the navigation of the course and for the use of the course that students must complete. So anyhow, I wanted to go through how to kind of override this if you felt it was necessary. So if we go into Module 0, the Module 0 quiz in MyOpenMath and in Blackboard both have adaptive release set up. So if we go into the Blackboard one, if you want to give students a free pass, you want to go into the Adaptive Release Advanced. You can see the rule in here that's set up is that in order to see this piece of content, the student needs to get a 95% or better on the Module 0 quiz in MyOpenMath in order to see this particular item. So this is the next item. So if we want to give a student a free pass, we can create a new rule. So let's go ahead and call that new rule free pass. The rule we want to create is based on membership, on their name. So if I want to give Brad S a free pass, I can look for him. Oops, it didn't find me. Let's try that again. Brad S, there it is. If you're not sure their username, you can check by their first name, by their last name, by their email, whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and add Brad Stetson in here. Oops, it's in there twice. And so we have one user with a free pass. Now when we click OK, you'll notice the OR possibility. So you either have to have a 95% or better on that quiz, or you have to be Brad Stetson. So at that point, this would be one thing would become visible. Now the downside there is if a lot of things are based on adaptive release. So for instance, that same rule would have to be added now to Unit 1 and all these things until they get to their next gateway. So you'd have to give the student the free pass on Module 1 and Module 2. So we don't want to do that too often. We want to make sure students are actually reaching these goals that we set for them. And these goals are not ridiculous. These quizzes are not hard quizzes. They really are covering the basic concepts like plotting a point, like setting up a proportion. Pretty simple things that students should be able to get. And we're not setting the goals too lofty. We're generally allowing them to miss either one question or two questions on the quiz in order to still meet their goals. So they all should be able to meet these goals.